Is this Dad's?
So next time you won't be late.
So today's video is on The Walking Dead World Beyond, episode 8. I'm going to review and break down the episode, but more explain the ending, and break down the trailers for episode 9 and 10, which, by the way, are airing together, so it's basically a 2-hour finale. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe so you're the first to hear about The Walking Dead and the first to see my videos. And if you go to the link in the description and in the pinned comment, you can join the official Discord for the channel too.
Trying to be cool. It's just hard. I'm tired of suffering.
So World Beyond actually pulled one of the craziest and actually pretty good plot twists that a show has done. At the end of this episode, the very last scene, it was revealed Huck had a meeting with Elizabeth, which at first suggests that they've been working together, which changes literally everything that we've seen in the previous 7 episodes. It changes everything. So when you first find this out, you think back to it, and when you think Huck is just with Elizabeth, you don't think much of it until you realise this means she knew about the events that happened behind the scenes. So she already knows about her community being slaughtered, and she's been pulling these characters' strings and directing the story and where they go. And this means Silas didn't kill Tony, Huck did.
Sorry, kid.
She's been doing all these little things that manipulate these characters into thinking it's their own choice. Percy and Tony weren't the real conmen, it was Huck. It's possible Tony found out that Huck was working for the CR, so Huck killed him and planted it to make it look like it was Silas, meaning she would know that the group would want to leave him behind. Elizabeth doesn't want Silas, and Huck would definitely know that by making Silas look like he did this, Hope would believe it and want to leave him behind. She only needs Hope and Iris, so convincing Hope to leave them behind, this was the perfect way, and it's likely, even if Tony didn't find out she was working for the CR, she would have killed him anyway. Because what do we know the CRM do when people find out too much about them? They kill them. The survivor we saw in episode 7 named Walter, who was holding Hope hostage, Huck eventually killed him, and she's likely killed Tony. These are people that got too close and knew too much. When she's talking with Elizabeth, Elizabeth says, "Have you brought the assets?" She doesn't actually need any of these other characters, and in fact, her goal is to lose all these other characters on the way. She's only meant to bring Iris and Hope, and it's because they're the daughters of their father Leo, who is Elizabeth's professor. He's of course a doctor that went to the CR to try and help find the cure. He's got that information, and Elizabeth is either going to use Iris and Hope against him and say, we're going to hurt them if you don't do this for us, or in order for the dad to work, he said, bring me my daughters then. She might even want to recruit these 2 girls into CRM just to live there, and she doesn't want nor need the other characters. Now, the opening minutes for episode 9 are shocking at how different she is. Like, Skinny Pete impression, no, she's gone full Heisenberg. And do you remember in my reviews for the previous 7 episodes, I was always commenting on Huck. We don't know who she is, you might as well just not be there, she's empty. Well, that's kind of what the show is trying to do. The show has done something quite genius in making me think, and others think, that she was some pointless, boring character. But she's completely different. This was all an act. I mean, she's actually heartless. This is worse than Dante, and I thought I was good at identifying spies. But this one was pulled right over me, and it was amazingly done, because I just thought she was pointless. And it's honestly a relief to think World Beyond was making her this kind of dumb character. Because behind that mask, she is worlds apart from what we thought she was. She calls Hope the girl, and she even talks about it like her time at Omaha and that community was all fake. Here's a clip from the opening minutes of episode 9.
I want to earn their trust in Omaha. You tell him that, and then to go to hell.
Jennifer.
It's gonna work. I'll make it work. Just need more time with the girl.
What a bitch. So that's one of the biggest plot twists a show has done, and By the way, it's also suggested at the end of this episode that Elizabeth is Huck's mother. That's right, Huck is the daughter of the leader of the CRM. It's only suggested at the end of this episode, but the opening minutes for episode 9 prove this further when Huck mentions her dad leaving us, meaning Elizabeth and her.
All right, get a good night's rest, Jennifer. And please take that before you go.
Why? Dad left us.
But he left that for us, and it brought us back together, safe and sound, despite everything.
Maybe it will again.
With the disappearance of Percy and not actually seeing a confirmed death, I do think it will be his return that lets Felix know that Huck is with the CR. And from there, the character of Huck will just be gone as we know her, because once she's found out, she no longer has to put this act up. And we've seen in the trailer for episode 9 and 10 that her and Felix fight, and her assigned goal by Elizabeth all this time has been to isolate Hope and Iris together to wherever Huck is going to bring them so that they can be taken by the CRM. She doesn't need Felix, she doesn't need Elton, and she doesn't need Silas. Felix is of course going to want to be with Iris and Hope. He won't allow for them to be isolated, which I think will end in Huck's death. In the clip from the opening minutes that I showed you, Elizabeth says Huck's dad's watch will bring them closer together and keep them safe, but it's clear that's not going to happen, and once Felix or someone else has killed Huck, it will further motivate and anger Elizabeth into the second season, making the threat to the remaining characters even worse, because the CR will really just want to kill them. They've already got no interest in capturing Felix, Elton or Silas, so after Huck's death, Elizabeth will have so much anger with not only whoever kills her, but with herself for putting her own daughter out on this assignment where she knew full well it was dangerous. This is exactly where the Disney will end, and you know what I mean by that. You know when I said it was like a Disney show? Felix is likely going to have to kill someone he thought was his friend, and we're seeing Elton and Silas already being tracked down by the CRM in the trailer, so either way, I do think a death will happen in this episode, and I think it's going to be Huck or Silas. Episode 8 was really good. We got to see why Silas thinks he's some monster now. We saw how he dealt with his abusive father. We saw what he had to do and what brought it out of him to be capable of all this. Huck doesn't care, and she let this boy believe it was him. Now that we know she's a completely different person and she's so cold and heartless, it's just so likely it was her that killed Tony. And like episode 8 did, it just makes you like Silas even more. At the end of the episode, Silas tells Iris that he's going to leave by himself. They were going to have a vote, and it was looking like it might have been in his favour, but he decides to leave by his own terms anyway. And then Elton tells Hope that he's going to leave with him. He shouldn't be out there alone. And this is where Hope reveals it was Elton's mum that she killed that night when the apocalypse started. And Elton has the best reaction you would want. He didn't confront her about it, he didn't turn into some villain. He just follows Silas and he cries. He didn't blame Hope at all. These characters have all been insufferable at some point, but what episode 8 did was show you their best sides, and it regains how much you like them. And all of a sudden, I like all the characters again like I did in episode 1. It hasn't always been the case, I've cringed, I've not liked certain episodes, but this episode brought the best out in them, and reminds you of why you liked them, from the short time that we've seen them. One of the final shots in the trailer is Elizabeth arriving on a big open field with a helicopter, and we do see Hope on the left side of the screen looking up at it land. So we know Hope makes it to this field and likely gets picked up, but we don't know who else she's with. Is it Huck bringing her? Do they not bring Hope and Iris in because they see that Huck's dead? Or do they kill Felix when they arrive? Or take Felix in because we see in the trailer he's injured? She's literally laughing. Oh, it better be an inside joke. What if, because Felix has been injured, he's another A? They save him and in return, he works for them. All the characters could really survive. It depends on Huck and whether she will actually end up helping these kids or sticking with her objective. I want to believe Huck will have a change of heart and change from what she actually wants to do, but it just seems she's so set and so different than what we thought she was. She's just a full villain, and I don't think there's any changing the daughter of the CRM leader. In the scenes we have seen of her with Elizabeth, there is no remorse or want to stop what the CRM's doing. She doesn't seem even remotely bothered about playing these people. She more just wants to get it over with. Now, talking of the helicopter, at the beginning of this month there was some big news that Andrew Lincoln was going to be in episode 10. Of course, Andrew Lincoln plays Rick Grimes. Now, I didn't cover this because it was only on IMDb. They've made mistakes before, and I knew it was going to be easily resolved. Even if he actually was in the episode, AMC would have just had to take it down anyway, and it would have had to apologise, and so would have IMDb. But overall, it's interesting that episode 9 and 10 are going to be airing and available to watch from early on if you've got a streaming service together. Of course, AMC did force IMDb to take this down. They said it was incorrect, but they would have had to take it down either way. Now, before we even saw World Beyond, before it even came out, I said we'd see Rick Grimes at the very end in episode 10 of season 2. So in the series finale, the very last episode of World Beyond, I do think we're going to see him either way. But if IMDb did incorrectly cast him as being in episode 10 of this season, it could be something as small as someone looking at a picture of him or a video of him. Nico Tortorella, the actor for Felix, when replying to an Instagram comment asking him who was his favourite person to work with, he said Andrew Lincoln. It's social media, it's probably just a joke, but it's interesting. But either way, World Beyond is leading to Rick Grimes. Everything you've seen in World Beyond, it all leads to him. It leads to the Rick Grimes movies. If anything, we're seeing a prequel to the CRM. Regardless of how many years Rick has already been there, we're being shown the CRM first before we get to see Rick. It's inevitable, but I want to know what you think. If we're going to see Rick in World Beyond, when and how do you think it will be? Do you think Huck will succeed? Do you think there's going to be a big death in episode 9 or 10? And if you do, who do you think is going to be? Make sure you let me know down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you press the like button. It will help me out and we'll get this video seen by more people. If you did enjoy it, then make sure you check out my other videos. Check out my latest one, where I break down the title and synopsis for the 6 extra episodes in The Walking Dead Season 10. The final episode of Season 10 is a Negan backstory, which likely means Negan is leaving the show. Make sure you go and check it out. And make sure you subscribe so you're the first to hear about The Walking Dead and the first to see my videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.